When the battle between Cassian and the red-eyed man ended, the red-eyed evil man gave Cassian a bag of cookies to eat to regain his strength. Cassian thought of Jeff's advice to always be wary of people who seem altruistic but just eat when you're hungry, think about the rest later. As soon as he took a bite of the cake, suddenly the black glove man appeared, with a confused face. Without saying a word, he picked up a hammer and hit Cassian straight. This guy didn't know what etiquette was, so he had to avoid the food. He kept saying that when I ate, he would hit me. Quickly throwing away the half-bitten piece of bread, Cassian hastily dodged the hammer blow of the strange villain. He has hair like the Eiffel Tower. This guy seems to be very active, but unfortunately he is our main character. Dodged the attack in time. Cassian thought he was his next opponent and the third duel had already begun, but it wasn't. Just as he jumped back and hit Black Hand's hammer, suddenly a man in an iron mask appeared holding a knife. Appeared right behind. Cassian realized his appearance and immediately threw a punch back in the middle of this guy's face. The knife in his hand also flew out. He didn't give him a chance to attack him. Standing alone in the middle of three villains who were fighting his gang, he just smirked and said sarcastically in front of them, "If you don't fight back, you have to invite your accomplices. Are you planning to make up for your weak skills with quantity?" Before he could finish speaking, a large wooden barrel fell from the sky. The main character quickly jumped out of the danger zone to avoid having that barrel fall on his head. So there were not only these three guys, but the number. There were even more evil people attacking him. Cassian found himself surrounded by a large number of villains. Apparently, the rules of the match were one-on-one solo combat, but now he was facing at least 4 opponents. Cassian felt, "There's something wrong." Then suddenly Mrs. Juak appeared right in front of him with a sinister smile and launched an attack straight into his chest. A pretty high-quality attack that caused high damage because she was famous for her strength and ability. With close combat skills, I don't know if Cassian will survive tonight. At this time, according to the calculations of the evil driver, the battle between Cassian and the Black Hand must end. But Driver couldn't see Cassian's shadow. He seemed impatient and worried about whether something would happen during the match or not. While thinking, the red-eyed villain appeared. He returned to report the situation as well as the results of his and Cassian's battle. Red-eyed was quite surprised to see the black-eyed villain and Driver always together. Probably guessed they were a couple. Suddenly there was a loud noise coming from afar. The evil Driver looked through the high-tech glasses to observe. He couldn't believe his eyes. What he saw was beyond his imagination. Cassian was sent flying straight into the wall by his subordinates, causing the wall behind him to crack into many pieces. Without giving Cassian time to react, the pyramid head carried a hammer and rushed straight to Cassian to massage him again, but there was no way he would let them hit him a second time. Cassian used his hand to block his hammer and at the same time used his other hand to punch straight into the hammer wielder's mouth. Seeing his accomplice being punched like a stepchild by Cassian, the evil Black Hand also rushed forward to assist. He concentrated his strength in his hand and launched a powerful direct punch. But with just a gentle movement, the main man was able to dodge that punch. Because the punch was dodged, he followed the inertia of the Black Hand and continued to attack and rush forward. Cassian took this opportunity to quickly circle around behind him, at the same time reaching out to grab his hair and yanking it back. He was really mad when they beat him up. His eyes glowed with golden light, his hands accumulated the energy of lightning, all of which he stuffed straight into the black-handed villain's mouth, leaving him alone. The crime of cowardice, not daring to go solo but instead going to call a guild. Suddenly the guy with the hammer came from behind. The main guy just knocked the hammer away, but this guy was not afraid. He still rushed at Cassian, and he kicked him straight in the face and lay motionless. He was really weak. "I'm still out in the wind, I can't even kill you with a hammer, so I'll rush in with my bare hands and just use it as a portable sandbag." Taking advantage of the opportunity when Cassian was distracted by attacking his 2 accomplices, the evil Lady Juak attacked him from behind with a wooden wine barrel, but this time it was different and he no longer gave them a chance. "I had to sneak up, bend down to avoid the wine barrel." He used the momentum to rush towards the evil Juak, grabbing her head and pushing it down, at the same time raising his leg to give her a knee straight to the face. He hit very hard and also very dangerously aimed at the opponent's interface. Angry. In just 3 seconds and 3 moves equally divided among 3 villains, Cassian had them all lying on the ground. Even if it was 3 against 1, with his strength, these B-rank villains could not. Enough for you to warm up. You're too strong for them. After a while of lying and doing push-ups, these 3 guys also crawled up. They still couldn't believe that they had been defeated so quickly. They wondered where this powerful Cassian monster came from. So strong. As for Cassian, he thought that the battle was finally over. But that was not the case. He saw a few strange evil people coming from afar. They are hammer boys. He belongs to the archer class, but his rank is only C, which is quite low. The other guy is blaster. He belongs to the knight class, has the fire attribute. This guy has a higher rank than that guy. B. These 2 guys seem very confident as they constantly provoke Cassian. Cassian cursed them as flies. Because day by day they would come in more and more numbers. Unable to bear the insult from Cassian, the blaster aggressively approached Cassian. Perhaps he intended to go one-on-one with our main brother. Suddenly, from behind, someone rushed up and shouted loudly, "He is mine." This guy claims to be the protector of security and order in the evil area. His name is the Mask. Steel is the evil. Rated B. The steel mask suddenly accelerated. He put his hands out in front, forming a defensive stance, and then pushed himself forward like a missile rushing at the target. But with his skills and this crawling speed, Mr. Main just needed to lean a little to avoid it. Taking advantage of Cassian's time to avoid the attack, the hammer boy also took the opportunity to attack him. His weapons were a hammer and nails. He used the hammer to hit the nail hard to make the nail rush towards the direction he wanted. When the nail rushed towards Cassian, he did not flinch, but on the contrary, he was very calm. His face did not change color. He avoided the attack while approaching this hammer guy, with the speed of a lightning bolt. He continuously moved zigzag to avoid the nails released by the hammer guy. Cassian finally reached the evil hammer boy, but this guy is a type of gunner. The skills he has are long-range skills. When he is approached, he is considered to be completely broken. So his teammate the evil guy blaster stood next to him to protect him. Cassian didn't pay any attention to his low skills. He still rushed straight in with a black fire attack. A black flame was released from his hand, covering the boyster's entire body, including all the villains. Mouth gaped in surprise. This was the first time they had seen such a black flame. They didn't know if he was a physical damage villain or a magician. While standing there as if waiting for her husband, the evil man at the head of the Eiffel Tower was grabbed by his hair by his sister Juak and thrown straight at Cassian. Is this sister really playing evil? It's scary to use her brother's body as a weapon. Head of the Eiffel Tower or holding a hammer in his hand to smash towards Cassian. But this time he ran out of patience with these guys and he did not dodge nor punch or kick with his hands and feet anymore. He decided to summon his weapon to strike once and for all. Okay, don't want to waste time. With the Sword of Darkness, he decided to use the attack to haunt the middle sea, cutting off the handle of the head of the Eiffel Tower. By the way, don't forget to kick him in the chest as a promotion. Witnessing what Cassian had shown just now, the evil black hand couldn't help but be shocked and scared. He had never met anyone with such power comparable to that of demons. In a moment, he suddenly realized that it was him. They are the hunted, not the hunters like at first. While in despair, he suddenly saw Cassian being controlled. That's right, Cassian was being tied by a small girl with black ropes that not only bound his body, but it also binds his fighting spirit. She is Binder, a support class villain. Her dark attribute and ultimate technique is adhesive. She releases adhesive like spider silk threads towards the opponent to bind the victim and lose them. Their will to fight. Realizing that a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity was in front of them, all the characters simultaneously attacked them. Launching a general attack, using all their strength to finish off Cassian. This group is playing very dirty, isn't it? At this time, the situation was extremely dangerous for Cassian. The enemy was on all sides. New attack, the evil blaster smashed the spear towards his face, but luckily he still had some strength to block this attack, but that was also Cassian's last ounce of strength. When Juak rushed to punch him, he couldn't defend himself anymore. He received this blow right in the stomach. A direct punch to the software. he immediately fainted. Taking advantage of the time he fainted, a whole group of villains gathered around to beat him, punching and kicking him. Not only that, they also tried to castrate him, truly a max-level villain. Cassian was gradually losing consciousness. At that moment a voice in his head rang out, "Brother, this is all you have, so pathetic, you took my body and this is all, do you have it?" That was the voice of the male student he reincarnated into his body. As if gaining strength from those words, Cassian woke up, his strength increased once again, his eyes glowed, full of hatred. This time perhaps those evil people will be defeated by him. "Fertilize your mouth with onions." Cassian stood up. Breaking the strings of darkness that were binding his body and soul, the light emanating from his face grew stronger and stronger. He released a terrifying power, causing the evil driver and two people in the distance to also easily feel this flow of power. When they saw Cassian able to stand up and easily break the binding ropes, the whole group of villains were shocked, panicked and extremely worried, but since they had stabbed, they had to follow, otherwise they would hit the main British Council. Now we have to continue fighting. There is no way back. Chwak's sister continues to attack. But this time he was really angry, his body radiated a lot of murderous aura. He summoned countless dark swords to attack all the villains who attacked him. Such a crazy power, such a terrible attack. With just one move, Cassian had all the villains counted, because in order to avenge Jeff and himself, he couldn't. Can die here. At this moment, he looked at the evil driver who had just arrived. He used high-tech glasses to monitor Cassian's stats and was so surprised. Currently his magic points index is over 2000. Really? I can't believe that when your magic points surpassed 2000 points, you were so powerful. It seemed that Cassian had lost all his reason. Right now, all he had in mind was killing and punching. Seeing that, Moros kept calling his name and reminding him to stay calm. Otherwise, he would completely lose his ability. The ability to control yourself and become a devil. But hearing Moros's warnings, Cassian gradually regained his reason. At this time he returned to his true self, but when he calmed down, his magic points index was also reduced by half. The reason is that Cassian's power is activated by anger. The angrier he is, the stronger he becomes. Because it had been a long time fighting and the intensity of the fighting was continuous, Cassian felt a bit dizzy, but he still turned to look at the defeated group and asked a confused question. "Do you still want to continue?" Hearing that, Mrs. Juak became angry and intended to do a few more rounds, but suddenly in their group there was someone who said to surrender. That was the evil Black Hand. Perhaps he was really impressed with the power of pressure. Cassian's absolute island, the decision to surrender should be made. The hand had surrendered, but this Juak woman still wanted to fight again, so the two got into an argument. It's true that women and girls hate each other very hard. If any brother accidentally makes enemies of his sisters, then just practice to determine it. At this time, the evil driver lands in the fighting area to stop everyone. The evil driver spoke towards Cassian, declaring him the winner and congratulating him on joining this evil zone. So the test was over. He officially won all 3 matches in a row. Because he lost too much energy while competing, Cassian was so tired that he collapsed and fell asleep. Luckily, the evil driver was able to catch him in time, or he would have died. I fell down on my face and ignored it. While sleeping due to exhaustion, Cassian dreamed about the past days when he and Jeff lived together in the orphanage. He remembered Jeff's words. Jeff wanted him to be neither a hero nor a villain. Jeff wants him to be someone who actually does the right thing. While he was dreaming, suddenly Cassian heard a loud voice calling his name Cassian. Cassian, that was the voice of Moros. He suddenly woke up. In front of his eyes was a strange space. He didn't know where he was. Suddenly the evil driver appeared. He came to see how Cassian's health was. Driver didn't expect him to wake up so quickly. He thought our main character was still sleeping soundly at this time. By the way, the main guy has woken up. Driver invited him to the Paradise Bar to invite him to a meal because he successfully passed the test, and also to apologize to Cassian for his subordinates acting arbitrarily and sabotaging the test. Break the rules of the main board exam. The restaurant owner brought out a plate full of delicious food to invite to Maine. This guy congratulated Maine for passing the test and becoming the tycoon of this private area. Cassian was very surprised. However, because he hasn't fought the evil driver yet, he has already become the boss of this area. Cassian asked the evil driver why he was like that, and he answered that Cassian had overwhelmed many evil people in the last battle, so he naturally became the boss. In addition, the evil driver was not interested in this boss position. He gave it to Cassian. No need to take the exam. Although he was not satisfied with Driver's answer, Cassian reluctantly accepted this position. Driver suddenly thought that Cassian did not have an evil name yet. He intended to give him a nickname in the evil world to make it easier to act dynamic. Before the evil driver could give him an evil name, Cassian spoke loudly, "Cassian, I am Cassian, an evil man with a desire for revenge. My evil name is Cassian." And so now Cassian officially becomes the boss of this evil area of Gadam district, and he wants to become stronger and stronger. And having more subordinates is also very good for his revenge process later. Now he has a large area in the evil area to practice, and he practices more and more diligently. His training intensity is now double that of the first days of training. His physical condition has changed a lot compared to before. While talking to Moros, there was a knock on the door. It was Driver. He had something he needed Cassian to come with to deal with. It was an emergency meeting about the issue of people being held in the punishment room who had escaped. Yesterday their escape was just a small matter. The main and very important thing was that the place these escapees went to was the evil area of Boksan district, a district where the leader lived. This place always has a hostile attitude and always cherishes the ambition to take over the evil area of Gadam district. At the headquarters of the evil Boksan district, the leader is scolding his subordinates, that is Ms. Juak and the evil blaster. These two people are spies planted by the evil faction of Boksan district, Gadam district, to listen for news and cause internal chaos within the evil driver. After scolding these incompetent and useless subordinates, the boss, the evil Barracuda, decided to take over the evil area of Gadam district because he had harbored this idea for a long time. The evil Gadam district was changing hands. Moving from Driver to Cassian is a great opportunity to do just that. In the classroom of the evil area of Gadam district, Driver and some of his subordinates were having a meeting to discuss the fugitives hiding in Boksan district. Cassian was surprised why there were 4 evil areas in Seul, but they didn't go to the Boksan district and not other areas. The reason is because the relationship between these two areas is not very good. The people of Boksan district are very eager to find opportunities to attack Gadam district. The boss of this area is Barracuda, an S-level villain with a violent, ferocious mind. Always only on duty to fight. It is said that his most powerful weapon is his fangs. There are also rumors that he owns a blue magic stone, an extremely rare naturally occurring magic stone. Hearing natural magic stones is eye-catching. Cassian lit up. He was very curious and interested in this type of stone. Compared to the numbers between the two areas, the evil Barracuda's area is much more overwhelming than the main character's side. Not only that, there are many higher-level villains there than the main character's side, which Driver has fought with several times, so he had a pretty good grasp of his opponent's numbers and abilities. After a tense meeting, calculating all the evil tactics, Driver confidently told everyone, although we are at a disadvantage in terms of quantity and quality of members, we will not lose because there is a secret weapon. Driver Dam refers to Cassian as the secret weapon. While the situation was tense, the main guy left to the surprise and bewilderment of the other members. His family had a lot of work to do, so he couldn't stay here and gossip anymore. He had to go home to study for the midterm exam. Even though he was Mr. the owner of this evil area has a monthly salary of millions of dollars, but he still has to go to comedy school. While Cassian's side plans to counter the attack from their opponents, right now their opponents are also taking their own steps to gradually achieve their goal. The boss Barracuda goes to the prison where he is being held. Kept an evil person, perhaps wanting to use this name for his plan. Barracuda confided that the same guy was detained for a long time and then decided to release him. Before he left, Barracuda did not forget to remind him to return to Gadam district. There are many interesting and new things waiting there. Waiting for him, and especially there is the evil driver. Today is a beautiful day. Our main brother went to the bookstore to find a cookbook to return home from cooking. His sister went to America for a short time, and he can't keep eating instant noodles. So he decided to learn to cook. Here he accidentally met Neon. How fate brought them to choose the right book. The two met each other. Cassian knew clearly who this girl was, but on the other hand, Neon only saw Cassian's face, which was very familiar, as if she had seen her somewhere before. There it is. With his gallantry and kindness, Cassian gave Neon that cookbook. He turned around and walked to the counter to ask if there were any more rights like that. At the same time, on a certain street corner, 3 thugs studying at the same Cassian school were sitting bored, intending to force them to put them in their pants to play with for the rest of the day, when from afar a clown-faced guy was gradually approaching them. My father and I were startled when we saw this guy approaching and smiling very sinisterly. He gave them a gift box and assured them that opening it would be very happy. Although our father is a thug, your dad is not stupid. Just looking at him he knew this guy was evil. The 3 of them were extremely frightened, their faces were pale as if they had just seen a ghost. These 3 guys intended to refuse the gift that the villain gave them, but it was too dark for them. The villain refused. Refused by these 3 grandparents, he forced them to accept that gift box. The villain quickly shot the gift at the head of the leader of the group of friends. This guy is not a stranger, he must be the leader of the Purple Onion at the beginning of the series, a few seconds after being hit in the head of the first young man with a pencil case. The Purple Onion has turned into a puppet controlled by the evil man's hands. At the bookstore, the red-haired hero and his teammates met Neon as scheduled. After a few small talks, they planned to go to a nearby cafe together to talk more deeply. At this moment, a loud sound echoed from far away, startling everyone in the bookstore and turning their attention to the door. Sensing that something bad was about to happen, the red-haired hero shouted loudly, "Everyone lie down." As soon as he finished speaking, something rushed through the glass door, shattering an entire glass wall. Scattered everywhere, a scene of devastation slowly appeared behind the dust. A sealed person appeared, he had the shape of a human, his head was in the shape of a gift box, a talking and smiling gift box, he looked quite hideous. Realizing that this was an evil person, the heroes group quickly raised their vigilance. Suddenly the guy in charge of the gift box climbed up to them. When they opened the box, many stuffed animals flew out from inside and attacked them. Surname. Although these animals are crowded, they are weak and can easily be defeated by the heroes. While the 2 heroes were fighting with other stuffed animals, there was a stuffed fish rushing towards the 2 girls. The 2 girls shouted loudly in fear. At this moment, our main character promptly took action to stop the stuffed fish. He used a book to hit it directly on the head. Even though he is in human form, he still has the power to manipulate this fish-shaped puppet. Realizing that these guys were quite weak, Grumpy was about to mix the bowing technique onto the counting board to quickly count the numbers, when suddenly he heard a voice saying, "Stop. Are you planning on killing civilians? That person is a puppet and is being controlled. The villain has taken him hostage." Distracted by Cassian's words, Grumpy was momentarily caught off guard, giving the lake-faced man a chance to attack him, but he was just a puppet, with many limitations in strength and speed, so Grumpy easily dodged. Received his attack. If the person wearing the gift box on his head is not an evil person like Cassian said, if he is really a human being controlled by evil, then he can be purified. In this regard, the blue-haired hero is a master because he is a hero with support attributes. The blue-haired hero used his ultimate technique, the recovery move. With this move, he could restore the minds of civilians who were being controlled by some villain. He sent this move straight towards him. The person with the gift box made that person unconscious. After being hit, the gift box on the victim's head slowly disappeared. He also gradually returned to his human form. I thought it was a stranger, but it turned out to be Purple Onion Head. Just now, the villain grabbed the gift box on his head. Outside the store, the scene was truly chaotic, with puppets wearing gift boxes appearing everywhere in Gadam district. These puppets not only destroyed facilities but also attacked people. They do so only to satisfy the desire to cause chaos of the evil man controlling them. At this time, the villain was standing on the roof of a high-rise building in Gadam district. He looked at the chaotic scene below and laughed loudly, but not long after, he must have immediately turned off his smile, because when Hey Driver was standing right behind him. Driver defeated this guy 3 years ago, but he quickly ran away from his pursuit. The day he defeated this guy, Driver warned him, if he continues to cause chaos in Gadam district, he will not forgive him. When he met Driver again after 3 years, this villain could not hide his joy, he laughed loudly, he felt happy that the opportunity for revenge had come so quickly, not heavy on the performance he presented. Always claws out and rushed straight towards Driver to repay the debt of that year. The evil Driver is extremely calm. He raised his weapon to confront him. After all, he was once a defeated general under his hands, so he has nothing to fear from him. Driver stabbed the weapon straight at him, but this guy couldn't dodge it. Why is he so weak after 3 years? Driver suddenly realized that this was just a puppet created by Toymaker, not his essence, so this puppet's speed and strength were too weak for him. Seeing that he had mistakenly found the villain's puppet, Driver seemed very upset, he was really angry. The next time he met him he decided to mix his teeth and lips and beat his parents. I can't recognize him anymore because he's so bitter. In the evil area of Boksan district, Barracuda and Barracuda sat with their close subordinates, they were watching the news. The news announced that in the shopping district of Gadam district, there appeared many human-like monsters wearing gift boxes on their heads. Head is aggressively attacking humans. It seems his plan is progressing as planned. The next part is a general attack on the evil area of Gadam district. One of them seems very impatient and probably wants to attack immediately. No. Need a plan to do something cumbersome and time-consuming? This name is Rock Hand, I will call him Stone Hand. He is a Class A villain of the Tien Fong class, his attribute is metal, according to his name. It is highly likely that Han's power comes from transforming change your hands into sturdy and powerful blocks of stone. A guy nearby also offered to fight quickly and win quickly. He also didn't want to have to wait. This guy is an ice demon. He belongs to the mage class with the ice attribute. His rank is an A-class villain. Next is Smoker. She also doesn't want to lose part, she wants to fight the evil Black Crow on Cassian's side. It seems like these two girls know each other. Smoker is a Class A evil magician and she has the wind attribute and always holds a pipe in her hand. The last person to speak, he looks shy but that's just his appearance. This guy wants to choose Cassian as his opponent because he and Cassian both have the dark attribute. He is a black ghost, a level A villain, he belongs to the assassin class and has dark attributes. Under the aggressiveness and confidence of these subordinates, Barracuda thought that this attack, Gadam district would definitely belong to him. Returning to the shopping mall in Gadam district, the two heroes are now running to release the control of the people controlled by the toy villain, but there are too many people like that. They need to find the villain. Only by destroying him will this situation be completely resolved. The red-haired hero knows him because he once saw this guy's profile in the Gadam district's villain file. His name is Toymaker, a very dangerous person who will do anything to satisfy something called pleasure. Your joy. Seeing that the situation seemed tense and chaotic, Cassian intended to find a hidden place to transform into his evil form. He would use that power to find and destroy the Toymaker. But it seemed that wouldn't be easy. Nian saw Cassian leave and immediately called him back. She said it was dangerous to go alone now. Stay with us. It will be safer here. Because Nian's brother is a hero. Hearing the call, Cassian turned around. Suddenly he saw two girls in danger. A guy with a gift box was standing behind the two girls. He intended to shoot the gift box at their heads to turn them into Manhwa. Confused like them. Quickly, he turned around towards Nian, his arms embracing the girl, pushing them out of the gift box head's attack range. His speed when in human form was also quite fast, when he could keep up. Time to save those two girls at such a far distance. Before they could calm down after the dangerous situation, the Toymaker appeared right in front of them. He came here to deal with those who dared to destroy his toys, meaning the heroes who had destroyed his toys. Purify the puppets he created and return them to human form. Without saying much, he took a gift box and rushed straight to Grumpy, intending to give it to his head. Seeing that, Grumpy had no choice but to show him his trick, summoning a large fire in his hand to wait for him. Move a little closer and he will take action. He was close enough to attack Grumpy. Putting all his magic power into his hand, he unleashed a scorching fire attack and hit the toymaker straight. A giant column of fire was shot out, lighting up the entire street corner. The toymaker was not scared at all, on the contrary, he smiled confidently and summoned a bird-shaped puppet capable of shooting ice rays from its mouth. This puppet was very strong, its attack completely burned him. By Grumpy. Not only that, but that fake diploma had enough energy to knock Grumpy into the wall behind him. Toymaker took this opportunity to surprise Grumpy with a gift box, but are you surprised? From somewhere unknown, a phone flew in. It hit him straight on the back of the head, making him jump. He turned around to see who had thrown him. Realizing that his opportunity had come when the toymaker turned around and faced Grumpy, he immediately punched him in the middle of the face, much to the toymaker's surprise and bewilderment. Taking that punch to the face, the toymaker flew dozens of meters away, rolled countless times on the ground, then lay still there. If he moved or made any movement, he was just a puppet, not a body. His real. Grumpy looked at the phone lying on the ground. He felt that this phone looked very familiar. That was right because it was Nian's phone. When his brother was in danger, Nian did not spare the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I just bought a bullet to hit the toymaker's head to rescue him. That's right, how sister. Just when he thought everything was going smoothly, another toymaker appeared. I don't know if this guy is a puppet or a real person, but he was very confident when facing two heroes at the same time. Maybe this guy is the original toymaker's real thing. He summoned countless gift boxes instead of just one box like before and threw it at Grumpy. One box would be less difficult for him, so I don't know if Grumpy could handle it with this quantity. Grumpy turned on his speed and ran in a zigzag pattern to avoid the gift boxes rushing towards him, but there were too many gift boxes and he couldn't avoid them all. When he passed a box flying right in front of him, he punched it straight with his hand. From that gift box, many different colorful fruit-shaped toys burst out. They cling tightly to Grumpy's hand and he can't get them off. They are gradually disappearing and seeping into Grumpy's body. If they all soak in, he will turn into a puppet. Seeing that the situation seemed unfavorable for the red-haired hero, Cassian reminded the blue-haired guy not to stand there like that. Quickly use your power to dispel that guy's subconscious, as fast as the blue-haired heroes. Using the recovery move on Grumpy, he was restored to his original state. Without a moment's hesitation, Grumpy rushed at the toymaker and beat him like a stepchild. He stabbed him hard in the back, sending him flying several meters away, but this guy was not a weak guy. He quickly regained his composure and turned around and punched Grumpy back. After 7-7-4-9 moves, the toymaker had the upper hand. He must have grabbed Grumpy's collar, intending to deliver a fatal blow to kill Grumpy. At that moment, a black rope appeared, tying him tightly. The toymaker's limbs made him unable to move. The opportunity had come and he couldn't help but take it. Grumpy regained his composure and immediately concentrated the power to summon fire into his left hand, then threw it straight at the villain. This was the third time he was hit. I don't know if he can stand up this time. Grumpy recognized the black ropes and this shield too. It was very familiar, he knew the evil Cassian was the one who helped him. The evil toymaker was defeated, the news was reported on the media early the next morning. This time, everyone thought he did all his achievements, but in reality, no one knew except Grumpy, otherwise with Cassian's help, he is now sitting and looking at the nude. At this time, in a secret room, the evil driver had a secret meeting with the evil man from a district in Seoul. The situation seemed very tense, the evil Boksan leader was Barracuda. They will take over Gadam, it is an official declaration of war. Before this statement, there was no movement in other evil areas in Seoul. They were as quiet as dead rats. They just sat and watched what would happen. This will also happen to them in the near future. Gadam District's evil district will become their first target because they think this area is the easiest to take. But Driver is confident that his district will not be defeated so easily because he has a secret weapon, which is his Cassian. But unfortunately the secret and extremely powerful weapon is currently sitting for the exam. After finishing the midterm exam, Cassian went to the school's rooftop to munch on a piece of bread and called to ask about his sister's health and new job. It was time to chat and share her thoughts. Suddenly Grumpy came from afar. The main guy quickly said goodbye to his sister, turned off the phone to talk to this Grumpy. The main guy thought, what the hell is so important that he's looking for me? He looked at him with suspicious eyes, or maybe this guy had already discovered his secret. He gently asked him, are you looking for me? He just came to thank Cassian for yesterday. Without Cassian's help, his sister would have been in big trouble. Grumpy thanked and admired Cassian because in such a situation, Cassian still calmly assessed the situation. And acted without hesitation, as even a priest could not do. There's one more thing he also wants to meet, which is his sister Nian. He wants to give Cassian a gift as a thank you for helping her and his friend yesterday, which is a cookbook that he gave it to her at the bookstore. After everything was over, he turned around and left, not forgetting to ask him about the black-shirt villain, but Cassian pretended he didn't see him, then finished his bread and then returned to the villain area to check on the situation. Image. Here, the villains are working hard to destroy the fortifications and set traps. Driver is sure that the villains from Boksan district will come and attack this area, so he has made many traps and obstacles to stop them. Although there are only 13 people in the evil area of Gadam district, with the information that Driver has collected along with a system of tunnel traps, Driver is confident that he can prevent the enemy from attacking. After listening to Driver talk for a while, Cassian also left. He went to the Paradise Bar to meet Chihayu, the owner of the shop who sold ice to Driver. He probably met him not to drink but for another purpose. At the Paradise Bar, Cassian met the owner and got straight to the point. I wanted to buy high-end magic stones and bought everything this guy had. I was quite surprised by Cassian's wealth and willingness to play, quoted by Chihayu. Cassian entered a secret vault to continue trading. Here, Chihayu showed 5 magic stones to Cassian. He was a bit disappointed because he thought this guy had more than 5 stones. After a while of bargaining up and down, the deal was finalized. Cassian made a deal. Immediately transfer the money to the shop owner and take 5 ice cubes to bring back. So why does Cassian, a student who lives on his sister's allowance, have such a large amount of money? That is the life savings of the hero Cassian. When he was a hero, Cassian was always worried that something would happen. Something happened, so he set up an emergency account at a Swiss bank. When there was a chime sound from the shop owner's phone, the transaction was considered complete. Cassian took 5 stones out of the shop, and Chihayu appeared with a surprised and incomprehensible expression. This guy did not know who he really was. Who can spend such a large amount of money in one transaction? Not only was the shop owner curious about Cassian's identity, so were the 2 girls. They were drinking milk tea and talking about Cassian. They didn't see him right after the rescue. What they ate disappeared. At the same time the dark evil appeared. Nian wondered if this was just a coincidence or there was some other reason. After stringing together the events, from the time and place as well as the face, Nian was shocked. She suddenly realized that the student was the evil person of the night. She was completely surprised and did not know. Dare to believe this truth. Scared to pee at what she had just discovered, she immediately ran to the bathroom to relieve her sadness. Because she was in such a hurry, she didn't notice that there was someone standing behind her, watching her, who must have been the guy. The villain in Boksan district who also has the same darkness attribute as Cassian. After dealing with her sadness, as clean as anyone, Nian went to wash her hands. She thought about what would happen when she exposed the truth about the evil of the night. She didn't know what to do when suddenly someone opened the door. Women's restroom. He is Cassian, not just someone who has Cassian's appearance. He knocked Nian unconscious and carried her on his shoulder straight to the lobby of the cafe. He wanted everyone to see the scene of Cassian capturing this pink-haired girl. He walked up to the blue-haired girl and told her to go and tell her brother, if you want to save his sister, go to Gadam district to find me. This fake guy used a knife to kill me. He wanted Grumpy to misunderstand that Cassian had captured his sister so that the 2 of them could kill each other. Just like what the Black Ghost had planned, when he heard the news that his sister was being captured, Grumpy immediately rushed to the evil area of Gadam district. The evil Black Hand saw him and immediately stopped him. Nowadays, villains and heroes only fight and rarely talk. So the gangster thinks this guy came here to cause trouble or attack the villain of Gadam district. The 2 rushed straight at each other, but before they could exchange moves, they both fell into a trap and fell into a hole previously dug by Driver. I don't know if I should call these two idiots or not, because of this. Its trap is so big that no one can see it. At this time in Cassian's private training area, he was in evil state and had swallowed all 5 magic stones at once. Moros approached and asked Cassian how he felt. Of course it's an uncomfortable feeling. As Moros said before, the more you use these artificial magic stones, the less effective they will be. But if it is a natural magic stone, it will not lose its power when consuming the next one. Seeing that this method was no longer feasible, Cassian decided to find another way. He thought he would practice even harder to increase his strength, or he would search for natural magic stones to supplement it. More power to you, you can also do both ways in parallel. Suddenly Cassian noticed that in his status panel, there were numbers after the skill names. That is a skill that has been enhanced when magic points have increased. Cassian secretly thought that he should spend more time practicing skills rather than relying on these artificial stones. Cassian, thanks to when he was a hero, in many cases heroes can create new skills by combining existing moves, so Cassian came up with the idea of combining his existing moves to create a new move. Said and done, he summoned a shadow sword the size of a hand and then added the black element to the tip of the sword to increase the damage of his blade. This is a combination move, he did. Succeeded on the first try. While he was happy and excited because he thought of a new combination technique, suddenly there was a knock on the door. It was the evil Driver. Driver told Cassian that someone wanted to see him. It was the hero Grumpy. Cassian felt quite surprised and didn't understand why this guy wanted to meet him. After falling into the trap lake, Grumpy was picked up by the evil Driver and temporarily tied to a chair. If he hadn't done that, he probably wouldn't have been able to sit still and aggressively rushed to the evil's lair to save him. But now that girl is chained to a chair, I'm speechless with this grandchild. He insisted that Cassian release his sister, but Cassian insisted that he did not do this dirty thing. Driver saw that. He interjected that someone else had kidnapped Neon. Not only that, he also blamed Cassian. That's it. Are the bastards in Boksan district evil area? Not wanting Grumpy to misunderstand him, Cassian ordered Driver to untie this guy, so that he could talk equally. After all, this red-haired guy had no malicious intentions, he just came because he heard about his sister. Arrested here. Driver for all see the images he captured from the camera installed on the drone. This aircraft he has used to monitor those evil people for a long time in case they do anything dirty. Then here Driver will get the information. Who is this guy? Cassian spoke up and asked Driver. He was the Black Ghost because only this guy had the skill to transform into other people so perfectly. Cassian didn't care what he said, he had found the culprit then just come. That's why they beat their necks once and it's over. After reviewing the evidence, all misunderstandings were cleared. They decided to attack the evil area of Boksan district to save this priest's sister. He also wanted to follow Cassian's group, because he needed to solve the problem. Save my sister. With the consent of the evil group, Grumpy was allowed to go with them and so they decided to attack the evil area of Boksan district today. After walking the 7-7-4-9 road, they finally reached the evil area of Boksan district. When they got here, it was already dark. Once they got here, there was no way back, all of us this time. He seemed very determined and enthusiastic when he was about to beat his opponent to a pulp. Because Grumpy was with the group, it seemed a bit strange. It's not normal for a hero to be with a villain. That's why Grumpy had to cover his face and disguise himself as someone else. Now he's a villain. Red Mask and is a new member of the evil Gadam district. The whole group met together to discuss tactics before attacking. They checked to see which path was the shortest to lead to their nest, and the tactic used was to fight quickly and win quickly. Cassian would clearly define roles and responsibilities. Position for each member of the group. The whole group began to divide into action. The first was to hack the opponent's camera so that they would not know about Cassian's group's intrusion. This job is done by the evil Driver. Because this is his specialty, in just 1 minute and 30 seconds, they took control of the surveillance camera system. After controlling the security system, they continued to move deep into the center of this area. their first goal was to destroy the evil boss Barracuda, followed by rescuing Neon. At this time in the prison cell in the crime area of Boksan district, Neon gradually woke up after being knocked unconscious by the black ghost, waking up in a completely strange place, making her feel extremely scared and worried. She remembered when she was kidnapped and realized that the person who brought her here was not Cassian. She didn't understand why she knew that. Could this be Neon's hidden ability? The three subordinates were assigned the task of securing the retreat route. After the attack was completed, they just wanted to fight. Sitting and waiting for so long, they couldn't stand the boredom, so they quarreled loudly. Going to raid the enemy's lair and you guys have such loud mouths like this, it's completely ruined. Not to blame for the ignorance of these three grandparents, the evil Boksan district heard the noise so he went to check. It was true that the earth was round, meeting no one but meeting his old comrades, the Juak's sister and the young man holding the gun. Teacher. In an extremely embarrassing scene, Mrs. Juak shouted loudly at the three of you, "Why are you coming to Boksan district? There is nothing for you to come here. Is it possible that you came here to surrender?" This woman is really smart and suddenly stupid, it's so difficult to think of. To tease three grandchildren looked dumbfounded, not understanding what Juak was saying. They came here to attack, but why did they end up begging to surrender? The Black Hand scowled and shouted, "Surrender to your pot, we came here to beat you to pieces." Suddenly a deep voice rang out from behind, "What are you guys making so much noise?" That was Rock Hand's voice. An A-rank villain is higher than all the B-rank villains talking here. He said to his father and grandchild, "I have never seen these ignorant people before, don't tell those idiots from Gadam district to eat lobster liver and then blend in here to become spies." The black-handed villain saw that he couldn't stand being scolded for being stupid, so he scolded him back in the face, "You guys came here to attack Boksan." Hearing that, Rock Hand became angry, he concentrated his strength on his two arms, turning them into giant stone arms that were extremely strong and terrifyingly powerful. He shouted, "You guys, please prove it to me. Let me see your courage and strength when you intend to take over Boksan." Hearing this, the Black Hand seemed impatient, he rushed out to fight this guy, a match that could be said to be an even match between a kicking arm and a steel hand, not knowing if the steel was harder or the stone was harder. Here, the Black Westerner also concentrated his strength in his hand to rush straight towards the other guy. Right now in the center of the evil area of Boksan district, the boss Barracuda is reminiscing about the past when he was bullied by Driver, immersed in the past when a subordinate came to report. This guy has discovered there were 3 intruders on the outskirts of Boksan, but these 3 were only B-class villains. Her name is Optical Lens, she is an evil mage class and has the light attribute, her current rank is B. After hearing the report from the Optical Lens girl, the boss felt that there was something suspicious. It couldn't have been just these 3 tips. They were just a diversion to distract and attract attention. Surely there were strong people coming here. He immediately ordered his subordinates to check other places. He thinks there will be many high-level villains coming here, but he also has more than enough confidence to win. He is no longer the same person he was before. Now he is much stronger and ready to inflict harm on anyone dare to stand in his way. At the same time, a group of 4 people including Cassian, the evil driver, the evil crow and the hero Grumpy, now the red-masked evil, all 4 of them reached the place where the leader lived, all thanks to their techniques. Driver's abilities, he is a tycoon in the field of tracking technology. Before entering, Driver wanted to check to see if there was anyone inside the building, also wanted to reconnoiter to see how the enemy's forces were. Driver took out a tiny remote-controlled plane to carry out the infiltration action. Enter your reconnaissance. But unfortunately, before the plane could take off, the presence of the 4 of them was recognized by the enemy. The deeper they went inside, the stronger the evil became, the higher their level and not as easy to overcome as on the outside. Since it's been exposed, the best thing to do now is to speed up the attack. Cassian was about to head straight towards the boss when suddenly a black smoke screen appeared around them. The enemy had arrived, it seemed he intended to intercept Cassian's group here, not letting them advance further. Come in more. From within that gray smoke, a girl appeared holding a pipe in her hand. It was Smoker, a trusted subordinate of Barracuda. She knew she couldn't handle all four of them, so she asked for permission to go solo with the little black crow. Perhaps in the past, the two of them had unresolved grievances, so this time Smoker decided to go solo with the black crow once to resolve old resentments. The evil black crow also happily accepted this woman's provocation. She told Driver and his teammates to go ahead, the business here is for me to handle. This is a woman's matter. Guys, don't yes, on foot, he finished speaking and the evil black crow walked towards the smoke evil man. Seeing that there was nothing else that could be done about the situation, evil agent Cassian and Grumpy had to leave, they continued to head straight towards the Barracuda boss. In the background, the battle between the evil crow and the evil smoke has officially begun. All three of these gods ran quite fast. Now they were able to get inside the building, where they encountered many guards, all of whom were level B villains or higher. They were very numerous and extremely aggressive, a bunch of little pawns. This can cause their group to waste a lot of time and energy before reaching the Barracuda boss. The three of them decided to just rush forward, there was no difference between them. Cassian turned on Express and added attack speed, he rushed forward and knocked these guards to the ground in just one move. The leader of this group of guards is Shark Tooth. He thinks Cassian is very good at fighting but is nothing to him. Shark Tooth is confident about his teeth as well as his body. He believes that with just one bite would make Cassian fade away. That means making him open his mouth wide and hear sharp teeth rushing straight towards Cassian, giving Cassian a deep bite, but unfortunately his speed was too slow. Cassian quickly jumped back to the wall behind him, calling it a shark. Hong Mang was extremely upset because he had underestimated his opponent. Before he could regain his composure, Cassian rushed straight towards him from behind. He threw a powerful punch straight at this guy's head, the boy lay still on the ground. Not stopping there, Cassian continued to add countless blows straight to his face with terrifying speed and power, to ensure that when he met his brother again in the future, he no longer dared to hit her as big as before.